I got every achievement in Inscryption and will be ranking them all, from some of the simplest things you've ever done to something so awful I listed the tier as cock and ball torture is better. Let's get started. The first achievement is called Blood Artist, and you get it by f***ing dying. Now, losing in this game is actually pretty sick because you can get what they call a death card, which lets you combine some stats from random cards in your deck to form a pretty crazy card you can use in later runs. The first time you do this gives the Blood Artist achievement, and since the game kind of forces you to lose a couple times, unless you really know what you're doing or get stupid lucky, this is an easy you can't not get this tier. Role Reversal is a simple achievement that just basically says use the angler's hook to pull a card back. It's definitely not difficult. It's something that you can do pretty early on, especially since you have to restart, or should restart, with those stupid bears everywhere. But if you get through the whole game without doing it, it's also really easy to get in Casey's mod, because all you have to do is just leave on the modifier that gives you the hook, get to the angler, use it, and you're good. So because of that, I'm just gonna do takes 2 seconds if you don't suck. The next one is Squirrel Wrangler. This one you need to win a battle with damage from squirrels. This seems impossible as squirrels are just kind of there and don't do anything. But there are 2 ways that you can do this. One is by transforming a squirrel into an elder squirrel. Makes it a 1/2, not very powerful, but it can get the job done. The second way is with the rare card, the Amalgam. Because it counts as every type of animal, it is then a squirrel as well, and that's how I ended up getting mine. This isn't like too crazy, so I'm just gonna put this in. More planning, less skill. It's really not hard, but also if you're not really thinking about it, you can't miss it. The next achievement is Gruesome Encore. This one you kind of just get naturally, or at least I did, because it was so fun to mess with the mycologists and try to make the craziest creature you can. All you have to do is get 2 creatures, put them with the mycologists, get a 3rd copy, and allow it to merge for another time. You can make some pretty crazy things with it, and that's why the mycologists are so good. This achievement is going in, takes 2 seconds if you don't suck, because you should be going for creatures that can absolutely wallop the competition. Next up we have Innocuous Insect, which Steam says you need to free a stink bug from the safe. The way to do this is to look at the rulebook, and the first page you open to will give you the code to Leshy's safe. Plug that number in, and you will have your second talking card and a new achievement. This is in no way difficult, and since you do have to do this to progress the game, even if it takes you a while to figure out, this is another you can't not get this tier. Now we come to Uncage the Menagerie, which reads, free the wolf statue from its cage. The way to go about this is a little more complex than the others. Remember that stink bug? Well, either way, it got you a key. That key goes to a cabinet, which unlocks some puzzles in the form of Inscryption games. Find a way to score 5 damage at once, and you unlock various things, one of which is a caged wolf card that is added to your deck. Now you can sit back down and continue the card gameplay, and if you manage to play that card and allow for it to die, you can hear the actual cage shatter. And the next time you can stand, you're able to find the wolf free, and you 1 achievement richer. This is a fun little line of puzzles and gameplay logic, but nothing crazy in all honesty. And since you have to do this to progress the game, this is yet another you can't not do this tier. Ancestral Vision is up next, which says fill your empty socket with something magical. And for all my female viewers, no, that does not mean go f*** a unicorn. This is down the same path as the wolf statue. Now that the wolf is free, you can pick up the statue and place it by the squirrel holding a knife. A mechanism frees the knife, and you can now kill Actually, no, you can't do that. Instead, you can now use the knife to stab your f***ing eye out. Because of course you do, why wouldn't you? Once you do this and your card game finishes, Leshy offers you a new eye, because I guess he's a surgeon and can just do that shit. Anyway, you have plenty of choices, but you need to take the glowing one, and when you do, you get Ancestral Vision, both in-game and your Steam account. Now this is going into you can't not get this tier like the others, but I do want to note that you can technically delay this a lot if you want, or if you really don't know what's going on. Since the knife is an item, you technically don't have to use it, and you and Leshy can just play Inscryption for all eternity, but the game will start giving you hints or pretty much telling you you need to use the knife, so you can actually get out of Act 1. But in order to leave Act 1, we'll need to get the next achievement, Reborn Hope. Reborn Hope says, find a spare film roll. By this point, you are well aware that Leshy's camera is actively f***ing you over by turning your ass into a card no matter if you win or lose. You may have even had a chance to point the camera at him, but with no film, he tells you to f*** off and then fries your ass faster than a KFC tender. However, with your new magical eye, we are told to check the clock behind us. Lining the hands with markings opens it up and lets us take our final talking card and a spare film roll, giving us an escape plan and another achievement. Obviously, this is going into you can't not do this. Now, these next 3 achievements come at different points depending on how well you play the game. But in Leshy's game, there are 3 bosses, the Prospector, the Angler, and the Trapper/Trader. Yes, spoiler, they are the same person. The Angler and the Trapper will activate a soft game over if you make it to them in your first and second run, respectively, filling their board with grizzly bears that block flying creatures. If you die or beat them the next time you reach that boss, you get their true phase 2, which has a lot less bullshit. Anyway, for beating each one, you get an achievement, Miner's Bane, Minecraft YouTubers, for beating the Prospector, Grizzled Angler for beating the Angler, and Face to Face, get it, for beating the Trapper and Trader. All of these, you can't not get them as they are on the road to actually defeating Leshy, so they're going in that tier. Defeating Leshy gives you an achievement, Enduring Victory. Now, I did this on my first actual run where I didn't have 8 cocaine bears ready to skulk me, but in theory, you can get this at any time by beating Leshy and winning his game. Of course, if you don't have the film roll, you still get gunned down, but hey, at least you got an achievement, right? This isn't easy, you can't not get this, and assuming you have the film roll, it's time to leave Act 1 with the next achievement, Renewal. The very first time you open Inscryption, you can't start a new game, a detail that some have overlooked, but I saw and just found odd. Of course, this is intentional, but you don't understand until you point Leshy's camera at him and get your sweet revenge. With him pinned to the wall, we can now see not only countless rotting bodies of people who played Leshy's game, but we also see the new game button in all its glowing glory. Grab it, and yeah, now you're in a dark room. I'm not gonna lie, I actually had to look up what the f*** to do here, which is super embarrassing, honestly, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. But yeah, all you had to do was leave, like quit the game, and go back to the menu. And in the menu, you get the new game option, start up, and you get Renewal, the achievement. You can't not do this, even if you have to look up what to do. Blows, man. Next up, we have progressed to Act 2, and we can kind of choose what to do a little achievement-wise. The one I got first was Doomed Necromancer, which was for beating Grimora in her temple. You have to beat either Leshy or Grimora to unlock PO3 and Magnificus, but in the end, you will need to beat all 4 of them, giving you Doomed Necromancer for beating Grimora, Avenging Druid for beating Leshy, Accomplished Automaton for beating PO3, and Wizard Mentor for beating Magnificus. All of these go into you can't not do them, as this is the roadmap to get into Act 3. Once you have beaten all 4 bosses, you can challenge one to replace them. Spoiler, it doesn't matter who you pick. PO3 shows up and f***s everything up, corrupting the game and pushing us into Act 3, giving the achievement Balance of Power. You can't not do this, so yeah. PO3 is my least favorite character, and he sucks at making games, so not only is this section of game insanely broken gameplay-wise, but you also have to beat 4 bosses, like the last section. The map is even the same from before, it's kind of sad actually. However, beating each boss, we get another achievement for each. Rank and File for defeating the Archivist, Essence Capture for the Photographer, Painter's Servant for the unfinished boss, and Natural Connection for beating Golly. With all that done, we then go into the center and prepare for the end. All of these achievements go into you can't not do this. Once you get the cutscene to play after finishing Act 3, you are given the achievement Murder as we watch PO3 die, blessed day. Best day of my life. From there, Grimora decides to delete the game itself, and we are given some gameplay to celebrate the end of it all, which finally leaves us with the end of the game and its climactic conclusion. which finishes by giving us dramatic finale for finishing the game. Both of these go into you can't not do this. But that is the last thing going into this tier, as now we are going to what makes the game good. With the game beaten, you still have things to do, but I decided to go back into the game and clean up achievements. The first one I got being Collective Effort, which you get for collecting every card in the original Inscryption, known as Act 2. Now this isn't crazy hard, since you can farm materials needed to buy most cards, but there are some you have to go out of your way to find in little hidden puzzles and such. And because of that, I put this all the way up in a guide will save your ass tier. Devil's Play is honestly crazy easy to get if you choose to buff the best card in the base game, Ouroboros. With the test dummy and your hammer, you can get this guy's stats to be absolutely ridiculous. Once you deal over 666 damage, you get the achievement. Since this doesn't take too much work except for a ton of clicking, I'm putting this in takes 2 seconds if you don't suck tier. Yes, I know it takes more than 2 seconds, just let me have fun. Dark Offering says make an offering to the Bone Lord. In order to do this, you'll need to play both broken ovals next to each other to make a full one. Take that to the Bone Lord and he gives you a bunch of shit, including a card you need for Collective Effort actually, and the achievement Dark Offering. I'm putting this in a guide will save your ass personally because I'm dumb as bricks and didn't put 2 and 2 together, literally, and had to look up how to do this. But it's easier if you're intelligent at all. Next up is Forgotten Lore. Now this achievement isn't nearly as bad if you realize early on that there are hidden directions in PO3's world. Sometimes these arrows are in the cardinal directions and other times they're on the diagonals. Anyway, many times that's where these little pelts are, the hollow pelts. I'm putting this in a guide will save your ass, as I honestly don't remember if I used one or not, but it would definitely help you find them all. Grim Bounty says destroy a level 3 bounty hunter card. This does require you to not die for a good while before you get one of these to show up, not to mention these cards are also insane on their stat lines. However, if you have anything with the insta-kill sigil, you can get this no problem, which is why I'm putting this in more planning, less skill tier. Agonizing Remorse just says don't empty the recycle bin, which is vague as f***. Essentially though, when fighting the Archivist, PO3 claims that he can and will delete a selected file from your PC if you let it die in the game, since that file becomes a card. What actually happens though is that file gets a little folder and a note from PO3 that basically says, actually I can't do that, so could you do it please? Come on, don't be a So yeah, all you have to do is move that file out of the folder that was created and you're good. You don't actually have to delete it, but I used a picture of my ex, so that shit burned. Anyway, I'm putting this in a guide will save your ass, as I know Anyway, I'm putting this in a guide will save your ass, as I know I looked up this one, because I didn't know if I actually had to delete something or not. Okay, those are all the achievements for the main game, but now we move on to Casey's mod, the true roguelike that challenges you and also makes you wish that God himself would end your suffering. No, it's actually not that bad. Most of the time. Our first achievement is called Dubious Challenge, where we just have to beat challenge level 1. This is basically just a normal run if you choose a simple modifier. If you get this far, you will have no issue with this, so I'm putting this in takes 2 seconds if you don't suck. Taunting Challenge is for beating challenge level 4. Not much to say here, the game is not that hard yet, so I'm still putting this in takes 2 seconds if you don't suck. Roar of Challenge is given when beating challenge level 8. Now we're getting to the point where the game requires you to really grasp its concepts and play well. Due to this, I'm putting this in being good is the only option tier. Similar to the last one is Rise to the Challenge, which is for beating challenge level 12. This requires you to have near mastery of the game, and so it's going to go in being good is the only option. Next we have Trinketer, which you can get by unlocking all 3 items from the painting in Leshy's cabin. This just means that you need to, at worst, play around the cards shown and create the scenarios in your run. This isn't necessarily hard per se, so I'm putting this in more planning, less skill. Now comes one of the more wild achievements labeled Start//Finish. This requires you to win a run with every starter deck in the game. There are 8 decks, meaning you have to do at least 8 runs. And I'll be the first to say, I did not do this in 8 runs. While I was going through the challenge runs, I did my best to switch to decks as they unlocked, so I could work on both achievements at the same time. However, not all the decks were so easy to get through. I did do this a while ago, to be fair, so I don't remember which decks I struggled on the most, but I do remember I got insane luck on probably the hardest deck, the egg deck. I was able to complete this deck first try and trigger its effect to pull the creature out, which is some next level luck, as you need to put in some crazy work to get this deck to function right. You essentially have to get the attack and defense numbers 1 through some number I can't remember, and fill up the egg card, as well as different creature types that make the whole card glow. Getting that deck completed first try is my single best moment in this entire game. Also, one thing I forgot to mention about when I got this achievement is that I got it at the same time as I finished Rise to the Challenge, which means that I completed level 12 using the egg deck, which is actually insanity. I think that's why I was so proud of it at the time, but I didn't add that in for some reason, because I suck. Anyway, back to the video. Due to how the different decks work, as well as just how the game can be with different card interactions, this achievement gets a tier all on its own, which I call Pray to Any God You Believe In for Good RNG. The next achievement is Rookie Mistake, which you need to make 10 ups while playing Casey's mod. I have no doubt you'll get this, as I got this within my first run, so that's cool. Ironically enough, I'm putting this in takes 2 seconds if you don't suck, but you do have to suck a little. Whatever, you get the idea. The only reason it's going in you can't not get this is, well, you don't have to play Casey's mod, even though I'd really recommend it. It's a great time. Pulling teeth says you need to pull out 32 teeth in Casey's mod. This one is not skill related, it's just a time sink one. You get the pliers pretty often, as it's a very simple and base item that doesn't help a ton, but since it can help you win or just stay in the game, you'll be able to get this with enough time. I'm putting this in takes 2 seconds, which I know it doesn't, but chill, you get the idea. Next up we have Bad Moon, which says defeat Leshy in Casey's mod without destroying the moon. Normally the moon is just kind of a pushover, since you can just beat it down with massive creatures or one-shot it with a silly snake. This however requires a bit more planning. The best way I found to deal with this is to just wipe out the moon's sigils with the paintbrush and then fly over it to kill Leshy. Since it requires some planning ahead item-wise, this is going in more planning, less skill. Finally, we get to the single hardest achievement in Inscryption, called Skull Storm. This requires you to beat a run with every challenge active in Casey's mod. To show you how tough this is, I'll list them for you. No fishhook item, carry 1 less item, no re-rolling card choices, pelts cost more, all bosses are totem fights. Start each fight with 1 point against you, all normal battles are totem battles, you get normal cards when beating bosses. Fights are more difficult in general, there are 2 of these and you have to activate both, meaning they are 3 times as hard as normal. You have 1 life, meaning any loss loses you the run. Your entire starting deck has the Annoying Sigil, which buffs enemy creatures by 1 attack. Your squirrels become Aquafists, which means they can flip on the enemy turn so you can't use them as blockers. Replace Leshy with a unique and final harder boss. And last but not least, every phase 2 boss has 8 grizzly bears that block flyers. So yeah, just win a run with all that and you're good. Needless to say, this took me numerous attempts and hours to complete. This not only takes crazy planning to handle those bears, but very good RNG on fights, as well as just what you get for your limited items and card drops. Which is why I'm giving this achievement the hardest rating by far of fucking ball torture is more fun. Anyway, that's the tier list. I plan on making these for every single game I 100%, so please subscribe if you want more of this. If you have a game you want me to do a list on, just let me know in the comments, and check out my Twitch where I'm actively working to 100% other games at Apathetic Gamer TV. Thanks so much for watching, and have fun smashing your balls in a microwave later.